This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today, XRP, the new global stablecoin. Don't believe it. I believe it's still true. You know, there's a lot of people out here are skeptical, and they don't like it when you're happy and positive. They don't like it. They call you hypey, right? Maybe it's just that I know what I hold, and I'm not embarrassed to be able to go ahead and own it while the price is still 24 or 25, 26 cents. Maybe that's it. Doesn't bother me. I understand this investment, and you know what? And if I'm wrong, I'll make the video about it. But I'll tell you this. I'm going to walk you through some information. Some of this you've seen, some of this you haven't. But stay with me, because I'm going to take you through to the end. And I'm also going to take you to a little whiteboard diagram that breaks down some exact thoughts from Mark Carney, the Bank of England, that really confirms to me in a deeper way that XRP has truly been held back on its classification and its designation because it will qualify to be, I believe, potentially a global stablecoin and or a stablecoin developed off of it. So we shall see. But you know what? I've gotten very comfortable being able to share my thoughts and my digital perspectives here online because they're not financial advice. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with a timeline here. We're going to go back to 2015 with the Deloitte document that I have shown you plenty of times that really says from one of the big four accounting consultancy agencies in the world, the best way to get a global reserve currency adopted, cryptocurrency adopted around the world is for the global institutions that can force their will on most cross-border trade, mandating its use. That was 2015. And they were comparing the SDR was created to support Bretton Woods back in the day, back in 1944, I believe it was. Forgive me if I've got the year wrong, but it was in the 40s. But now let's move from 2015 and that one of the big four accounting firms, professional consulting opinions on how to really introduce a global cryptocurrency as a reserve or basically a bridge asset, as it were. Now let's go up to 2019 here, where this happens to be a document from the Group of 30, which has many, many incredible players in it, which we will look at in just a second. These are the remarks from 2019, 4 years later, from Mark Carney being expressed within the Group of 30, which has Dr. Rajan in it, by the way, which was the gentleman I got to ask last year's Swell Conference about XRP being a global reserve currency, and he didn't say no. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. Now let's just look at the words of Mark Carney here brought before the G30, and what he says here, the Group of 30, I should say, a systemic hegemonic currency could, for example, listen very carefully, be a stable coin backed by a basket of deposits at different central banks, collateralizing the ledger to provide a price floor, if you will. It is possible that such a stablecoin could be valuable for cross-border payments. What else do you know is after cross-border payments at the same order of magnitude that XRP is? Serving a function similar to that offered in the private sector by Ripple. He even mentions it. A real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network whose digital currency, XRP, leapfrogs slow, expensive correspondent banking. That's Mark Carney, formerly the head of the Bank of England. Just thought I should throw that out there too. So while listen, I mean, these are not YouTubers having these conversations. I'm a YouTuber having conversations about them having the conversation. Okay. So let's get that straight. So, you know, if there's hype, maybe we should start talking to the Mark Carneys of the world and ask them why they're mentioning Ripple and XRP as a solution to these things. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it's not hype. It just hasn't happened to your timeline, so you think it is. So the reality is let's take a look at what this would look like according to Mark Carney's words. I put this to paper. I love doing this. Here's my little whiteboard for everyone. Here is a picture of many banks. I just grabbed a picture of some banks for the mere example of what we're talking about here. But let's just imagine that this is a pile of central banks. They all have Nostro Vostro accounts in other places for all the different daily business flows and balances they need to cover in all the different currencies and countries that they do their business in. Imagine now that a percentage from all the Nostro Vostro accounts, and I just say a percentage as a mere example, they begin to take a percentage of these accounts of dormant capital around the world and say, you know what? What if we all took, let's just give an, arbitrary number here, 20% of the Nostro Vostro account money we all hold, and let's put that and disperse it in a basket of deposits held at different central banks, specifically to provide a collateralized value of high price to handle these cross-border settlements and even clearinghouse settlements for derivatives around the world. And this would give us a very reliable price. The asset XRP would remain a very open and decentralized asset, but because it gets this designation, potentially, we can provide these collateralized amounts of money held at different central banks, keeping all parties of all these banks participating because they're all contributing this to the balance of that floor price for the asset, right? Giving everyone access to this high-priced XRP now to be able to function and begin to settle between all the currencies of the world, acting not as a world reserve currency, but a neutral, jurisdictionless asset that can settle the currencies in between every other currency of the world. Running, of course, on the XRP ledger, a universal ledger for, as Ripple likes to say, all the money. Well, if the central banks of the world are the ones in fact participating, putting these basket of deposits held at different central banks around the world, which makes everybody evenly in, right? Bank A, Bank B, 200 central banks around the world holding a certain amount in there to collateralize the ledger for a guaranteed level of value. Now, if they all come together and collectively, arbitrary number again, 20%, just putting it up. Now, the other 80% of everybody's dormant capital in those Nostro Vostro monies can be used for their own needs, to build their business, to recreate new services and products in this digital economy. Now, that was 2019 from the G30 and 2015 from the Deloitte, one of the big four accounting consultancy firms, giving their opinion and strong professional recommendation on how to really introduce and create adoption for a global reserve cryptocurrency. You can see it right there, right there. And then again, like I said, 2019, here comes these comments. I just literally drew out what Mark Carney talked about. Allowing the world to make these payments in a smooth, ubiquitous way, so they can absolutely use this asset. Because here's the deal. If the banks are going to use a brand new money, if it were, first of all, it ain't money unless everybody says it's money. And if everybody's holding an amount in their deposits at different central banks, we all agree it's money at that level, right? Because when you and I as retail investors agree that it's money, it's only worth about 20-some cents. Now, if you had this mass adoption of this because of its designation, which is what we're really waiting for, and that's how I know the XRP designation is so damn important, because they haven't given it yet. Because the world, to me, in my eyes, is going to use it. When I go forward, I look forward here and remember in early 2020, January of 2020, the World Economic Forum puts out the Policy Toolmaker Kit for everybody to design their CBDCs for. The framework for which to be within. And it suggests here, Crypto assets designed for inter and intrabank payments and settlement are JPM Coin and XRP. Then we go further, keeping on the international level, to the Financial Stability Board. And this came out 10 days ago. 10 days ago. That's another reason I know it's going to happen, because the Financial Stability Board is a regulatory agency connected to the G20. And they're putting out final reports and high-level recommendations about supervision and oversight of global stablecoin arrangements, because the world is going to play along. Then you have the G20 Digital Economy Ministers meeting. Meeting on the digital economy, huh? Why, the G20 even has a digital task force. But I guess that's because I'm being hypey. They must have been watching my channel. Moving right along, G20 Virtual Leaders Summit in 29 days. How about that? How about that? We got a G20 Virtual Leader Summit in 29 days. What might that yield? Very interesting. Then we have this little tidbit. Remember about a month ago, almost to the day, the XRP Ledger was built for payments, and the XRP Foundation was built to support the XRP Ledger. Wink. From all of us at Ripple, we're looking forward to building with you. The XRP Ledger Foundation officially launched September 24th. They launched the XRP Foundation, an independent nonprofit focusing on the growth, innovation, and development of the XRP Ledger and the XRP community. With the support of industry leaders, academics, community members, we can ensure the XRP Ledger is well positioned for the future. And it goes on to break it down. You get the idea. The XRP Ledger was shoved off to sea, a christening, if you will, right? A fly be free moment. Out of the nest it goes, out of Ripple's hands and into the world it goes. And I believe it's because the world is going to adopt it. And they're going to adopt a token along with the ledger. And American company like Ripple is not going to be allowed to oversee its use and become one of the most powerful entities in the world. And we had this comment from David Schwartz on October 19th, just 4 days ago. I don't think there's going to be a one world fiat anytime soon. Notice he said one world fiat, which means a government-backed dollar, just like the U.S. dollar is the global reserve currency. I don't think there's going to be a one world fiat anytime soon. You know what? I don't either. So even with stable coins, there will be a lot of them. To make liquidity between the CBDCs, other stable coins, and new tokenized asset classes, securities DeFi, there's room for a neutral, jurisdictionless asset. Well, that's pretty interesting, because this is exactly what it's talking about here. And if we go here to back to the FSB report, let me scroll down here to page 5, where it talks about the difference between so-called stable coins and the difference between global stable coins. And however, I'll jump to this part here. It says, however, a widely adopted stable coin with a potential reach and across multiple jurisdictions, so-called global stable coins, or GSCs, could become systemically important. And then across one or more jurisdictions, including as a means of making payments. And then at the same time that all this is going on, the IMF happens to pick right now to be calling for a new Bretton Woods. Just 8 days ago. A new Bretton Woods just 8 days ago. Bretton Woods is where they introduced the idea of the U.S. dollar becoming the global reserve currency and really birthed the IMF. And now we're calling for a new global reserve currency because that's code word. A new Bretton Woods is code word for a new currency to be introduced to the world. Let's listen here to what Kristalina Georgieva says here at 328 to 424. Listen here.
We must take measures to prevent the buildup of financial risks over the medium term. We face what I have called a long ascent for the global economy, a climb that will be difficult, uneven, uncertain, and prone to setbacks. But it is a climb up, and we will have a chance to address some persistent problems: low productivity, slow growth, high inequalities, a looming climate crisis. We can do better than build back the pre-pandemic world. We can build forward to a world that is more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. We must seize this new Bretton Woods moment.
And there you have it. Don't believe me when I say it, but you might want to start believing somebody like Kristalina Georgieva at the IMF when she says it, and the FSB when they draft regulations and recommendations for it, and the World Economic Forum when they put it in that the XRP is the coin for settlement between the banks. When you see the documents from the G30 of Mark Carney, and let's take a look at that for a second, right? Of Mark Carney and all the others, Dr. Rajan and everybody else that's on this panel of the G30, the group of 30 here. Look at these experts here, right? People's Bank of China is there. Group of 30 executive director is Stuart McIntosh. Then we have these project advisors. Look at just where some of these people are from. Monetary Authority in Singapore. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Bank of International Settlements, huh? Augustine Carstens from there as well. You can't make it up. Look at this. Dr. Rajan. Great to speak to you last year at Swell. You know, Banco Central do Brazil. I mean, you know, the list goes on and on. JP Morgan Chase, right? You know, I tell you, it feels like it may never happen to some people because price action doesn't reflect this amount of effort, this amount of energy that's going into this. But what we're talking about is no small matter. It is no small feat. And there are enormous implications to what will happen when this does go down. And I do feel like at some point, this absolutely will go down. We are going to see XRP become a global stablecoin. Will there be others? Possibly. But right now, today, I'm focused on XRP, and that's where I'm at. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you check out the description box for links and comment section for anything you may want or need. I'll catch all of you on the next one.